It's Rosh Chodesh, a good Rosh Chodesh. It's Kislev. Kislev is the Hasidic Shema, Hasidic month. And this year we get Hanukkah twice in 1 year. Did you know that? Because Hanukkah last year went over to January.
Yeah.
So we get Hanukkah twice. Okay, so what we found out last week is that the food is also, it's tied down. Even if you didn't know, and it's just, you thought you were doing a good thing, and it's just objectively also. And not only that, but you can't elevate it. Not only that, even if you actually use its energy for doing something of Kedusha, but the energy itself never lifts up. It stays stuck down there. So and now we're going to find, so what happens with this energy that got stuck down there and never got to go up? So what? Well, therefore, you have any mint over there? Is there any mint tea? Mint's good after a meal.
Fresh mint, caffeine free.
Caffeine, that's exactly what I want. It's great after a meal. Yeah. The Moroccans, they always serve mint tea after a meal.
There's a lot of different types.
Thank you so much.
They all ran off. Okay. I'm sorry we don't have tea for you people, little people over here, but you can get a cup of tea because everybody else is having tea. Okay. So what happens to that energy? But before that, there's another interesting line here on page 181. Right. Page 181. So it says, that being so, just as usher food fundamentally differs from mutter food, right? It's tied down or not tied. So the Yetzer Hara, the appetite for such food is, in the language of our sages, is a line from the Zohar, a non-Jewish demon within a Jew. You see what I'm saying? That when a Jew feels he wants to eat something, and that food is not kosher, even if he doesn't know it's not kosher, the appetite for it is something not Jewish within the Jew. What just meant all that? What is that telling you about the not just the animal soul, but the body of the Jew? Saying that a Jewish body is naturally not attracted to food that's not kosher. I mean, it could become that way because maybe that's what he was given to eat from when he was a child, and so we got used to it. Or it could be that another way is, once you feed your Yetzer Hara just permissible food, but in a gluttonous way, so then it also gets this other foreign Yetzer Hara, right? But the natural Yetzer Hara of a Jew is not attracted to food that's not kosher.
But this is a non-Jewish demon within a Jew.
Yeah.
Which implies...
Well, the Zohar talks about the Yetzer Hara and Yetzer Tov as being two like demon type of things.
Uh-huh.
I'm not really sure what that means, but it means that this Yetzer Hara is not a Jewish Yetzer Hara.
But it's driving somebody to eat trash.
Yeah, and it seems that this would also apply to other things as well. That if a pleasure is distinctly a pleasure that's not kosher, you wouldn't be attracted to it. In other words, the Jewish Yetzer Hara is to indulge, but not to do things that are forbidden. That's not the Jewish Yetzer Hara. Whatever it is forbidden. Just indulge, enjoying myself, fine, but with something that's also not going to do that. You know, they say there was in a certain town in Poland or Russia, there was they always had in every town the town Meshuggah. There always has to be a Meshuggah in the town, right? And everybody's always laughing at the Meshuggah. So the Meshuggah in this town, little kids wanted him to tried to get him to do something. And he said, Dad, says, I may be Meshuggah, but I'm not stupid. So Because the Jewish Yetzer Hara is a Yetzer Hara. I want to indulge. I want to enjoy myself. That's all. I want to enjoy. Just why? Just for the sake of enjoyment. That's all. But something that's forbidden. No, I'm not going to do something forbidden. Why not? Why not? Because notice he explains why in the next line. This is really fascinating to me.
We've got two evil inclinations within us, one Jewish and one Goyish.
No, you by birth inherently you only have one Yetzer Hara, but you could acquire this other Yetzer Hara as well. But it's not really you; it's foreign to you, right? Because the Jewish Yetzer Hara knows that if I eat kosher food and indulge in it, I could always bring it back up again. I could always do tshuva, and it'll be fine. But this stuff, it's going to be stuck down there with it. I don't want to be stuck. You know, it's like the kid. I know I can go out and get in trouble. My parents will forgive me, but to go out and never not be able to come back home again, no, I'm not going to do. There's a limit.
All right. So last week, Barry asked, "What are the three Tamei Klipa?" But we don't know what they are.
Or what are the three ones? The three, I know what the three are.
You can't get out of.
Right. I know what the three are, but I just don't know which Isurim are related to which of the three. There's a cloud, and there's darkness, and there's a fire, right?
What did you say? Fire.
A fire. It's like a flickering fire.
Uh-huh.
Those are the three. It's in the vision of Yecheskel, of Ezekiel, the prophet. He sees a chariot, and he sees this whole thing. He saw a rocket ship of some sort. So he saw darkness, a cloud, darkness, and a flickering fire in the darkness. You know, like you have an electric storm, that type of thing. So those three things were the three Tamei Klippas. And then there was the shining all around it. Oh, that's the Klippas Noga, that can be elevated. But I don't know where does a pig come from? The cloud? The dark? I don't know. Okay. So it says, this Yetzer Hara belongs to the other peoples of the world. They are naturally attracted towards these things because their souls are of the three Tamei Klippas. So this is not a problem for them. But this one, and I told you the story about you hired the workers. I told you about that. You hired the workers for food.
Yeah, you got to give them another meal.
You give them another meal because that's not a meal. It's not satisfying for them. And in other words, they ate the food, they thought it was kosher, and then walking away feeling not satisfied from that meal. Not so when it comes to permissible foods. Oh, everybody look in your purse pocket. Something is ringing. It's nice to have background music. It's fine. Not so when it comes to permissible foods. That's on page 183. The Yetzer Hara and the appetite for these is a Jewish demon. Being in quotation marks, being of Klippas Nega, it is naturally attracted towards foods of Klippas Nega, right? I'm Klippas Nega, that's Klippas. So it matches, right? If you, how can you be attracted to something that's not you? Like Jew pork or Jew shellfish, it's not me. I'm not attracted to that sort of thing. Okay, but Jewish Yetzer Hara is Klippas Noga, and this food is Klippas Noga. Oh, that I'm attracted to. That I have an appetite for. Naturally. You can have unnatural attractions. People have that all the time, unnatural attractions. It's natural to have unnatural attractions. But not unnatural. Okay, anyway, some things are not too unnatural. So being a Klippas, it's actually attracted towards foods of Klippas. This is true even when you're just indulging your food cravings, bringing yourself and the food down to lower Klippas, you still can be attracted to it. Even that it's still a Jewish demon, since its appetite is for permissible food that can always return to holiness, as explained earlier. Right? That's the Jewish demon that the Yetzer Hara feels, I can always come back, so it's okay. Not only can always come back, it can become holy afterwards. But if it can't become holy, If it can't become holy, I'm not interested in it. You're talking about the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara of a Jew is not interested in anything that cannot become holy. It's not interested in staying klippus noga. It wants to also become holy, right? But right now it wants to indulge and then become holy afterwards. So even the Yetzer Hara Jew wants to do things for a higher purpose, for a greater reason. It just also wants to indulge. You have to know what a Jew naturally is. This is a natural state of a Jew. I like higher purpose. Everything. Yetzer Hara, higher purpose, very good. But can we just have some fun along the way?
So, Rabbi, question. What about Moses before he knew he was Jewish, and when he was like a prince of Egypt and he lived in the court and everything was nice, like, like.
What did he eat over there?
Well, I mean, he had like all these deities and idols, and I'm sure he had non-kosher food. So, so he was like all corrupted.
That she tried to find a wet nurse for the little baby, and he wouldn't nurse from any of them. See why? Because not kosher milk. So he would only nurse from his mother, because it's a Jewish lady, and that's what Miriam said to the Egyptian princess. I'm going to get a Jewish, because obviously he won't nurse from an Egyptian. I'll get a Jewish one.
But like even
that was fine. And what about eating the meat in the palace? The Egyptians were vegetarians.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's why Yosef and his brothers had to eat at separate tables than the Egyptians, because eating meat to them was a barbarian. It's discussed as an abomination.
Oh, for the Egyptians.
Yeah. So.
But like when he was in the desert, didn't he have like all these idols in his head, and now like he has to accept the God?
I don't know. I don't know. What did he do about all the idols and everything? Says Avram Avinu. Rambam says that he worshipped the idols along with everybody else.
So he had this like non-Jewish.
Maybe he didn't have a passion to it. Maybe he didn't have a passion to it. He didn't have a Yetzer Hara. Did it. Everybody else is doing it. I have to do it, but I don't have an attraction towards it. Don't feel it's me.
But he smashed them in the end.
What?
He smashed them in the end.
In the end, he ended up smashing them, yeah. In the end, he got...
Took him time to do that.
Yeah, it took him time before he got to that point. He was ready to smash them. And then he did it. So yeah, he could end up doing it. I have to do it. Everybody else is, but if I'm attracted to it, I'm not attracted to it. We had a guy came, he was like 16 years old, and he turned up in the yeshiva in Morristown. And how did he end up there? He said he was looking for a guru, because he had a guru when he was living in Toronto. Who was his guru? His guru was Richard Alpert, Ram Dass. He lived in the loft at Richard Alpert, Baba Ram Dass in Toronto. Ram Dass was originally Richard Alpert. He was a professor, I think, at Stanford. And then he started experimenting with first mescaline and then LSD. He became friends with Timothy Leary, and he told everybody to drop out of university, drop out of school, take acid, drop into this new thing. Then he went off to India, and he came back from India and said, forget the acid trip, forget all that. It's meditation, spirituality, and he changed his name. It's no longer Dr. Alpert. It was now Ram Dass. But he was a Jewish boy. And eventually he ended up speaking at the Chabad house in Los Angeles. And he said, if I'd have known about this beforehand, I'd probably be a chassid, but I didn't know. So he went on being Ram Dass. Anyways, so this kid turns up, and he's looking for a guru. He heard this spiritual center of some ashram or some sort, turns out to be a yeshiva. So he comes there, and I started learning with him. I started learning Tanya with him. I'd only been there for a year or two, I don't know. And this kid, like, he had a good head, but the problem, he'd fried it with all the LSD and everything else. So I would learn with him one day, got it straight, and the next day, like, it's all like wiped out of memory, gone. But I didn't have time. So what did he do? He got me to commit to learning with him at 6:30 in the morning. Okay. But sometimes I was up at night. We had a band. We played in a band, and there's other stuff and everything. Sometimes I didn't get to bed till 4 o'clock in the morning. Get up at 6. So he comes to my bed like, we got to learn. And I'm tired. Leave me alone. It says, if you don't get up a bed, you're gonna be. If you don't get out of your bed, you're gonna be swimming in it. Okay, leave me alone. Next thing you know, I'm swimming in my bed. Took a bucket of water. Okay, but the guy really, I said, okay, he really means that. Okay, so I went. After like a couple of months, maybe 6 months or so, he disappears. He's gone. Okay, we tried. We learned with him. We did everything. It's his choice, We can't force it down his throat. He's gone. But then 3 months later, he turns up again. He says, what happened? He says, I'm angry. So angry at who? I'm angry at you. I'm angry at the yeshiva. I'm angry at the Rebbe. I'm angry at the Alter Rebbe. I'm angry at all of them. So what? He says, I went back to see all my friends. We went skiing. You know what? I thought I was at the top of the mountain. I'm at the bottom of the mountain. We sat around with all the candles, the meditation. I said, so what? Candles. Oh, so we went to a disco, the music. So what? I couldn't enjoy anything because you taught me Tanya. I couldn't enjoy anything in the world, so I had to come back here.
Wow.
Okay.
And he was like their spiritual leader, right?
I was what?
He was like their spiritual
He was
leader.
with, that's where. Yeah.
So what happened after that?
He broke off with that altogether. Married a nice Jewish girl. Had a nice family in Toronto.
And his religion, did he do anything religious with his life? Or?
Yeah. Completely. I taught his kids in yeshiva too.
Oh, really?
So that's what happened to him. They say when they came to take the Alter Rebbe away for interrogation, and he knew they were coming, so he went out the back door because he said he had to think about whether he should go or not. And that night, so they left. He came back home. That night, came his good friend Reb Shmuel Monkus, very close with the Alter Rebbe. So the Alter Rebbe sat down with Shmuel and told him the situation. He says, "Yeah, I know." So he said to Shmuel, "So what do you think? Should I go? What do you think?" He says, "I think you should go." He says, "Why?" He says, "Whichever way you look at it. If you're really a tzaddik, then what's the big problem? You could walk through the walls. And if you're not a tzaddik, then you deserve whatever they give to you for taking all the pleasure in this world from tens of thousands of Jews." Okay. So that's what's going to happen. Okay, so the Yetzer Hara is only interested in these things because afterwards we can make it holy. But if we can't make it holy afterwards, I'm not interested in it. I'm not that kind of Yetzer Hara. Okay, so the Klippas Noga is more natural. It's not really healthy though. That's what we're going to find out. Middle of 183. Although this food's energy could potentially be carried back to holiness, nevertheless, until that happens, it's Sitra Achra and Klippa. Right? So you consume the food, or some Jewish person consumed the food for just the pleasure of the food, right? And he figures, well, later I'll do tshuva and make it holy again. I'll do something good. But in the meantime, it's klippa, it's sitra achra, and it's like not good because you pulled it down. And he says, and even then, like once the Jew returns and starts being holy again, sorry, a trace of that klippa energy remains clinging to your body. After all, as soon as you consume any food or drink, your body begins to metabolize it. Immediately, while still in its klippa state, some of it becomes your blood and flesh, so a trace remains. Ramon, we're still waiting for your buddy to come back. He asked good questions. Okay, let him know. So the problem is, guy said, the Yetzer Hara says, I'll just eat it now and enjoy it, and then afterwards I'll, use it for kedushin. That's fine. But the problem is, some of that food is immediately metabolized, and in its sitracha state before you get a chance to return. So which implies that if it takes you a long time to return, all of it's going to be metabolized, and it's all going to be a trace of it. Okay, and now this is the interesting part. That's why the body will need the thrashing of the grave process after burial to cleanse and purify it from its state of tumah.
You said that there's that note that needs to be washed away. It does after death.
It needs to be washed away, right?
Yeah, that's in death, after prison.
After the so if a person has no pleasure from this world at all, that except for pleasure for higher purpose, the body does not decay in the grave. It stays whole. And we have, reliable witnesses who had to move bodies, graves, who saw people who were whole. So it's only because a person took pleasure from this world just for the sake of this world. So that remains klippa, and klippa, that type of klippa sitracha, has to be removed from the body. Why? I mean, you can explain it two ways. Why does it have to go through this process? Well, for one thing, the body is going to be resurrected when the neshama comes back to it. But okay, if it's going to be resurrected, so if you're going to be resurrected, I think it's a deeper thing. It's just that the body wants to return to its natural state. And this is not part of its natural state, because the body of a Jew is holy. It's only the animal soul that's klippa. The body itself is essentially a holy body. That's why we bury it afterwards. If we weren't holy, we wouldn't bury it. The Jewish body is holy, right? And while it was alive, it had an animal soul in it. But now the animal soul is gone. So it wants to return to being holy, but there's this stuff here that this animal made it eat. So it decays to get rid of that stuff. Because it doesn't belong in the Jewish body. So you're sort of anesthetized while you're alive by this animal soul saying, it's okay. But now the animal soul's gone, left you alone. It's not okay. What's this stuff doing in me? So it starts to heal itself.
What's coming? Son died from a terrorist attack in Jerusalem.
Oh, sorry, can you?
My wife's cousin's son died because of a terrorist bomb in Jerusalem. On place and they buried him in Florida. And years later, they exhumed him to rebury him in Israel.
Yeah.
And apparently his body had not decomposed at all.
Wow. Because he's a Kaddish. No, if a person dies for only reason that he died was because he was a Jew, we call him a Kaddish. Because he goes before the Beis Din Shalamayla, and how can they judge him? He says, listen, the only reason I'm here is because I'm a Jew. The only reason they killed me is because I'm a Jew. So he can't be judged. Tahor. Everything's, so the body, that's an amazing story.
So when you started talking about this, did you say that if a body stays whole, it's because the person was indulging in
I didn't say it that way. I put it the other way around. That if a person does not indulge in anything of this world, then his body doesn't need to rot.
Oh, if it does not indulge. Okay.
Does not need to rot. No. It's only if he ingested something it's not. So I know of two other ways that the body won't rot. Another way is he did a lot of chesed. A lot of chesed, helping a lot of people. And the other way is, like you said, a Kaddish, somebody who died just because he's a Jew.
How long ago?
Rabbi,
How long ago?
Yes.
can I ask a question?
Who was that? Oh, that's David. Yeah.
Can you see me?
Alabama.
Yeah, roll tide.
I'm sorry, I didn't see the hand raised over there.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm trying to think of this from the Klipa Noga's perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, so if something, food or whatever is Klipa Noga, and it's raised by a Jew, and it becomes raised in its state, what happens to it then? I mean, is it served its purpose, and its spark is released and it's over with?
What happened? It got raised? What got raised?
Yeah, I guess I'm saying, like, I get the idea that the human, that the Jew, when he uses something for a holy purpose, this
Right.
Klipa Noga, it raises its level. Right.
Holy,
right.
holy.
So from the Klipa Noga standpoint, does it become holy at that point?
That food, whatever it was, that was before Klipa Noga, now becomes, it's no longer Klipa Noga, it's now Kedusha, it's holy.
Okay.
The energy is holy, everything about it is holy. Yeah, that's what happens.
Okay.
So that's what goes on here on page 184. This is because any personal benefit, personal benefit that you take from this world and its pleasure, infects your body with a tumor of the Noga and Jewish demons that needs to be washed away. Unless you're one of those people who never took any benefit from this world their entire life. Like Rabbi Yehuda was called our holy Rebbe, Rabbeinu HaKadosh. Rabbeinu HaKadosh, he was the one who was friends with Antoninus, Marcus Aurelius. He was close friends with him, and he was a very wealthy man. He said the three wealthiest people in the world at the time was the Caesar in Rome, Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Persia, and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Rabbeinu HaKadosh. And so he, at that point, he realized this is not going to last very long. So now is an opportune time to fix some things up so that we'll be able to survive when things get worse again. He had the foresight. So what did he do? He made a whole big project of collecting together all of the oral teachings that are necessary for halacha to know what to do, and put together with the Mishnah. So Rabbi Akiva had started the work, Rabbi Meir had continued, and others were doing, and he said, let's make it into something short enough, brief enough that everybody will be able to memorize it. And he created the 6 Siddharim of the Mishnah. So it's very powerful, and he had consensus of all the sages and everybody working together. So it says on his table, there were always guests, lots of guests, and the whole year round he had all the delicacies. Like it says, he had cucumbers and radishes the whole year round. Okay, that's no big deal to us, but then it was a big deal to have cucumbers and radishes the whole year round. How did he get hold of them? But he did. So he had all the delicacies on his table. And then when he's in his final deathbed, he lifts up his 10 fingers to heaven and says, God, you know that not one of these 10 fingers ever had any benefit from this world. And then he died. So, on the one hand, he has every delicacy on his table. Right? On the other hand, he's making an oath that never had any benefit from this world. So some want to say, well, he had it there for his guests, but he didn't eat it. But it doesn't make sense. Then why does he have to say, make an oath to God that that this is so, if everybody saw that he didn't eat it? So no, he ate it. But when he ate it for a higher purpose. Maybe to make his guests feel okay, because it broadened his mind. He had it for the right intent. He didn't eat it just for the sake of eating it. That was his whole life. So the interesting thing is we have many titles to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda, we call him Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, because he's the head of the Sanhedrin is called the Nasi. He was the Nasi. Sometimes we call him just Rabbi. But here, the title that the Alter Rebbe uses is Rabbeinu HaKadosh, our holy Rebbe. Our, right? So why does he use that title here? So the Rebbe says something very amazing. He says, it's to tell you, if he would just say, Rabbi Yehuda was able to do this, he says, yeah, he was able to do it. When he says, our holy Rebbe, it means you're capable of it as well in some way, because this is your Rebbe. So every Jew is capable of doing everything that they do, enjoying, not staying away being an ascetic, but enjoying this world for the sake of heaven. Because otherwise, why did God make such wonderful cookies? Why put such tasty cookies in the world? There must be a purpose to tasty cookies. So it must be that you're capable of elevating them.
What about that guy you mentored? Like everything was like dull to him after he like got learned. I empathize with that,
because he
the more learned
he wasn't eating it for the sake of heaven. If he would do it for.
Well, the more learned he got, he realized what he was doing wasn't.
I remember a very vivid experience also in yeshiva. So I was 19 years old. Okay, when it came in, okay, here's a Gemara. Here's your chaver, sit and learn. I have no clue what's going on over here.
This is you?
Yeah, trying to figure it out. The other guy also, he's just been there a month to 2 months. Trying to figure this thing to make no sense to me. But we struggle. And then finally one day it clicked. I'm getting it. It's working. Wow, I can see it. You have to see this rabbi. His opinions there, his opinions there. Really visual. Like my mind. I didn't have to think this way when I was in college. Nobody ever made me think like this. Now I'm really thinking. Okay, my mind is working. We're really getting into it. And then we get hungry. Oh, it's lunchtime. Go downstairs for lunch. And everybody's sitting around talking about whatever nonsense. I couldn't bear listening to nonsense. I couldn't open my mouth to speak. Like this the other day, I'm speaking the same stuff, but I couldn't.
So how long did it take before it clicked?
Before it starts to get clicked, probably about 2 or 3 months before. It made no sense to me at all at first. I think after about 10 days, I was packing my stuff ready to leave. Okay, but it worked.
2 or 3 months is pretty good.
Yeah, it took a while. No, I had some back. Before I went, I took a intensive biblical Hebrew course. But this is all the Aramaic and the Gemara. Okay, so we had stuff worked on it. So it's possible. It's possible to do that and become like Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi. Well, not like him, but some sort of, to some degree. You can do everything you do for the sake of heaven. It was a pleasure. Yeah, by the way, a little note here about the thrashing and the grapes. So it says there's another way around it as well.
Thank you.
That is that if you speak Torah words for 1/6 of your day, what's a sixth is 4 hours of the day. If 4 hours of your day are filled with like Tehillim and Limud Torah and all those things, it also, the body doesn't have to rot. Yeah. Okay, now that's about the holiness of the Jewish body. And we preserve that by eating kosher food for the sake of heaven. Just kosher food alone is not good enough. It has to be for the sake of heaven. For the body. Now we get to other things that affect the soul. Food affects the body. Other things affect the soul, such as words. The words you speak are soul things. So how do they work? So you have something we call in Hebrew Dvarim B'Telim. It's an interesting term. Dvarim B'Telim means literally empty words, useless words. But it doesn't really mean that when we say that, because you could go just some playing tiddlywinks or whatever, and it's Dvarim B'Telim. Even though it's not words, but it's things that are just a waste of time. Just waste of time. But it has something to do with words somehow, as you'll see. So, Dvarim B'Telim are going to be Klippus Noga again. But we already had a case of Dvarim B'Telim for Kedusha. You could see there could be a living. What was the case of Dvarim B'Telim for Kedusha? Was when Rava told a joke. So he's using Dvarim B'Telim, but is it no longer B'Telim though, because it was for a purpose. That's the thing about Dvarim B'Telim. As soon as it has a purpose, it's no longer Dvarim B'Telim. Okay? But Dvarim B'Telim on their own just is Klippus Noga. Okay. It could also be Dvarim B'Telim. Could be what's a typical Dvarim B'Telim today is scrolling, or that's a really bad form, or just watching movies or whatever, sitting by the pool sipping lemonade. I don't know, whatever it is. Dvarim B'Telim. So what about? So there are cases where Dvarim B'Telim are permissible. For example, empty words are permissible if you lack the education necessary to learn Torah. Because if you could be learning Torah, what are you doing saying Dvarim B'Telim? Right? So he says, we're just talking, just... Okay, so the times that you need to speak Dvarim B'Telim, I mean, if you're going to have any sort of social life, you need to speak some Dvarim B'Telim. You can't say with anybody comes to talk to you, no, I only talk Divrei Torah. Mm-hmm. No, you have to be part of a society. You have to be able to talk to a person and say, you could turn around like, what's happening in your life? How are things? Any way I can help? Find out what's happening. But usually you can only really find out what's happening in another person's life by talking Dvarim B'Telim with them. Okay, so those are not Dvarim B'Telim anymore because it's useful, it's important words. Or it could be that, you were learning Torah all day long and words at work, that's not Dvarim B'Telim. You have to make a living. So you speak with people. You have to get on the line with a client and talk to them. How's your wife and kids? Remember last time we went at it? And then you get around to business, otherwise you're not going to make a deal. So those are not Dvarim B'Telim. But maybe you spent so much time that day on useful words and Torah words. Now you just need some Dvarim B'Telim to chill down. So again, they're not Dvarim B'Telim because you're doing them in order that you will be re-energized in order to learn Torah more, which means you're not scrolling, because scrolling doesn't re-energize you at all. Okay, so when would it be like just perfectly permissible, even though it's useless and has no meaning, because a person who doesn't know how to learn Torah? Well, we could be saying Tehillim or something like that. Okay, maybe he can't read Hebrew. He can't read. He's illiterate. He doesn't know any Torah. Okay, that would be the only case. So then it remains Dvarim B'Telim, remains Klippus Noga, to not elevate it. So in that case, your soul will need to be purified of the tumah of the clip of these words. It seems to me like just a theoretical case. But it's still tameh. The point is, it's tameh. And what needs to be purified now is not the body, but the soul. Now, how does it get purified? You got Klippus Noga in the soul now. How does that get out of there? So it says it happens, that purification comes after your soul leaves your body, as described in the Zohar. You can look it up over there. It gives a reference. The turbulence of that. Okay, I'll tell you what it says over there. It says that what happens when a person says all these words, it creates this like air, like hot air in the soul, and then after the soul leaves the body, that hot air creates a lot of turbulence. In a sense, the soul flying from one end of the earth to the other. And that itself is like being in a slingshot. The slings are going round and round. And that itself gets it to leave the body. So he's not talking about it as being a punishment here. He's talking about the soul needs to cleanse itself of this because it's unnatural to the soul to have this. How does it do that? As soon as you leave the body, it's able to do that. It's something like when the body heals. Whenever the body heals, there's pain. You can't have healing without pain. As long as the body's not feeling pain, it doesn't heal itself. It's a very interesting thing. There can be something that's very wrong in the body, but the body doesn't feel pain, and so it just gets worse and worse. It's only once the body feels there's pain over there, I recognize, oh, now I can start healing it. Like I go to a network chiropractor. It's very interesting. So other chiropractors, they do all these manipulations and everything. So the network chiropractor comes over you and he'll just like do that, right? What's that all about? And you start thinking, it hurts over there. Yeah, it's hurting. And then it starts to heal. Well, you didn't know it was hurting there, so it wasn't healing. Once you find out that it's hurting over there, now the body starts healing it. Acupuncture can work in the same way. So things like that. So as long as this soul is in this body with this animal and going through life, this animal is anesthetizing the body and the soul, though they don't feel the pain, so they don't heal. As soon as that's over, and the soul and body separate, and this animal soul is no longer has its power, the soul starts feeling, there's pain for me. What's that from? It's all for all the nonsense I was speaking and watching and reading, scrolling through. That left all this. I got to get rid of that. And then gets rid of it.
So that's what happens in 11 months.
I said, all the pain after death is not a punishment like vengeance toward a punishment. It's a natural consequence. That's just naturally what happens. And the same thing he said, same thing really, we talk about the soul going down into Gehinnom. Right? Gehinnom is like a laundromat for souls. It's got to get cleaned up. The soul desperately wants to go back to its place. It can't get there. Right?
Gehinnom's like...
Yeah, down there, yeah.
Okay.
So you can't get there. So what does it do? It goes through this fire in order to get back there.
You walk and it circles up and down. Like see that?
Yeah. You'll see more. So that's this is what's necessary for permissible talk of Klippus Noga.
Can you explain the whole slingshot thing?
The which one? The slingshot. So that's what the slingshot is. The slingshot. That's what the Zohar call it, kafakela, slingshot. But the elsewhere it's described as just that. Well, in the Zohar it says it's the hot air that you created with all these divine B'Teilim. But in the Koti Torah, the Alter Rebbe writes that it's that hot air like escaping from the soul by throwing you this way, throwing you that. How he describes it like this: the soul goes up, rises to its place, and sees the utter bliss that of its origin, Gan Eden, and so much wants to be there, and then immediately all of this nonsense that it was speaking down there comes back into it and slips it back down to earth. And like as though he's still speaking and doing those stupid and scrolling through that stupid stuff again. And then he says, no, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be here. And pulls himself back, goes back and sees that bliss again. It's like going hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. As soon as he's back there in the bliss, and then all these things come back and they slip back down again. Some people go through this every day in life too.
Well, I think the analogy of a overman is a good one. Because you gain.
So going back and forth until you manage to let go of enough, because every time the pain of being there, you reject that. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there. You go back up. No, but there's still some left. Or you come back down. No, I don't. Until eventually you're able to go into it.
I'm struggling with this concept a little bit. Maybe I'm thinking of this wrong, but I'm thinking of like mitzvot and like doing, the Yetzirah of the Jewish, non-Jewish soul, kind of like a point system.
Point system. No, it's a natural consequence. A person acquires stuff that doesn't belong to him, and that stuff is weighting him down. He needs to throw it overboard and get rid of it. Imagine this: you're in a helium balloon, like the little basket under the helium, and you're going up, and then like you get so high and you can't go any higher. What do you have to do? You have to throw sandbags overboard.
But let me give you two examples. Let's say you have person A, and they don't do so much Yetzirah, but they don't do that many mitzvot, so they're kind of like neutral, like zero. There's not that many positive, there's not that many negative, so it's neutral. You have someone that does a lot of mitzvot, but then they do some Yetzirah, so it's like they have a lot of positive and a lot of negative. So the seesaw is the same, but one's like more volatile and the other one's more balanced. It's kind of like the stock market. Like you have a portfolio, all your stocks are even, but then you have a portfolio, half your stocks are up very high and half your stocks are down a lot. So it's the same net result, or no?
He's saying that paradigm that you're presenting, he rejects. Either it's good or it's bad. If it's bad, we got to get rid of it. So it's not your soul, a Jewish soul, is not tolerant of a little bit of good and a little bit of bad. It's not tolerant of it. If there's any bad, as long as it's not noticing, but as soon as it notices, because it left the body already, it notices now. Got to get rid of that.
No, but like you were saying, like with the thrashing, if you did a lot of
purification, that purifies it, get rid of it. Now the body is pure again, because it wants to be pure. Now we're talking about the soul. The soul also wants to be pure again.
Right, but if you did a lot of Torah, if you did 4 hours of Torah, right? So like those would
purify it. Okay, that purifies it. It gets rid of that bad stuff.
I'm not saying you would do it on
purpose. But it's not like you can go and I'm going to do it.
It's like you go to the casino and then you do your 4 hours.
No, that's not going to work.
Okay.
It's called the guilt money stuff. It doesn't. That doesn't.
But like you see, there's a guy that just sits home and does nothing. But then you have the person that does 4 hours of the studying, but then goes to the casino, let's say, for example. Like, what's better?
I told you a story about that guy. One story. Okay. That time for a story. So he comes. So the Alter Rebbe found this guy in a tavern somewhere, drinking with everybody. Talked to him and got him to do tshuva. And then he came and he sat and was learning with all these other students, and he was very good at it. The Rebbe was sit with him. And then after a couple of months sitting there in yeshiva, like my friend, 16-year-old, he's gone. He's gone. And the other Chassidim thought, what a pity. The Rebbe put so much into him. What a pity, he's gone. Then he turns up again at the door. He's back. Dr. Rebbe comes out of his study, gives him a warm welcome, a hug, sits down, it's a good back. But it turns out that this is a cycle. He's here for 6 months and he's gone, and every time he's gone, he's back in his old haunts again, and then he comes back again, and each time the Alter Rebbe is so warm and welcoming him. So finally, Chassidim said, Rebbe, at some point, you have to tell him either or. How can you every time? So he said, the Alter Rebbe was shocked. He says, you don't understand. You don't understand that the nachas, the pleasure that God gets from one less avera, one less day of sitting. So you can look at, the cup either way. Which one is it? He keeps on going back to sinning, or right now he's not sinning.
But it's like a yo-yo effect.
Yeah, but at least now he's not sinning. That's tremendous for him. That's a tremendous effort. For some people, to like you ever had the kid in the class, the fact that he was able to sit still for 2 minutes, wow. It takes him more energy to sit still for 2 minutes than it takes the other kid to go and play basketball for an hour. So, how much energy it takes for this kid to sit still for 2 minutes. Wow, what an accomplishment. Yeah, some people like that. Okay.
But I feel like for most Jews, it's like an addict, like trying their hardest not to relapse. Where the very pious ones, like they're very intrinsically motivated.
Yeah, somebody is pious because he doesn't have such. He's cold. He doesn't have attraction to these things. We can have a very passionate person, and it's really hard. So he has to use that passion in the right direction. The son of the Alter Rebbe said that the spiritual people are more passionate. And the practical people just tell me what I have to do and I'll do it. They just get mixed up in their business. Now, the spiritual person who gets mixed up in business, he has those problems. Well, okay, so here the soul needs a purification from the chatter, all the chatter. And that happens because it goes up and it sees, what's all this chatter about? It's not letting me go in. Okay, so it rejects it, like going back and forth like a slingshot, back and forth and back and forth. Like a yo-yo. Okay. But then there is forbidden talk. This is Shalos Klippas Utmeis and become completely tame. Scorn, malicious gossip, things like that. Completely tame Klippas. So then it's not enough. The slinging close is not enough. It has to go to Gehenna. So scorn is verbal abuse, right? And that's an instrument in Torah, like hurting a person with words. There's all sorts of the whole section in Shulchan Aruch about curses, name calling, unconstructive criticism, all those things, or even like telling a person, say a person says, "Where can I buy such and such?" and you send them off to some place. It's just a goose chase. There's nothing out there. It's also verbal abuse. Hurting somebody's feelings, and there are certain people that verbal abuse is like even worse. If it's a ger, then that's sort of Torah warns you over and over again, not to say painful words to a ger.
What's a ger?
A convert, or your wife. And warns the husband, because if you make her cry, oh boy, you're in big trouble. So you have to be very careful. Because they're natural. The wife expects the husband's here to protect me, not to criticize me. So you pull the whole world out. So it says, certain people have to be more careful. And then, so that's scorn, verbal abuse. And then there's gossip. And he says, so two things is Lashon Hara. Okay, so Lashon Hara, it could be just speaking about somebody, even though what you're saying is true, but it's not nice. The fact is, even Rechilus is just plain gossip. Gossip, it just means talking about this guy did this and this guy did that and so on. It's not anything bad about them, but it's their private business. Like if somebody comes and tells you something private about their life, you're not allowed to tell it to somebody else. He told it to you in confidence. Unless he said, yeah, you can tell it to other people. But if he didn't expressly tell you could tell it to other people, you're not allowed to tell it to other people. You don't have to say this is completely in confidence. It's just understood that it's in confidence unless stated otherwise. But when it's something bad about him, then it's Lashon Hara, which says kills people. And then the worst thing is Motzi Shem Ra, which was making up things about a person. That's the worst. Okay, so for those things, no, this slingshot's not going to do the job. The soul has to go to Gehenna. Sorry about that, but we need some fire to burn this out. Yeah, so you have to send again spiritual domain for the cleansing of soul. So don't get involved in that stuff. And if you do, we need the purging.
So what kind of fire is it? I've thought about this before. Like,
What kind of fire?
yeah, like
It's
not
the
really-
same kind of fire that you feel that makes you do those things to begin with.
It doesn't sound too good.
Right?
So like fire from a candle or
The real fire, the real fire is a fire you feel inside. Like that fire when I'm not going to lose my temper. I'm not going to lose my temper. And then boom, that type of fire. That's the worst fire. So they got a big one of those, to cleanse the soul. And then there's the Gehinnom of Shelag, of snow. Why? Because there was a time you had a chance to do a mitzvah. I'm not excited about it. That's ice. You're cold about it. I'm not interested. That's snow. That's cold. So that type of coldness they put in there. You think you're cold? We're going to give you the real cold. And that takes all the coldness out of you. That's when you it's again the same thing. You have to be able to face this thing and see what it is, and then you can get rid of it. Identify it to get rid of it. Until then, you can't get rid of it. So next we're going to get into Torah neglect and limited Torah, and basically it's going to get into Tumah of the mind, which hasn't been printed in here. But we get to that soon. And Bittul Torah. Bittul Torah means you're supposed to be learning Torah all the time. Sometimes you're not learning Torah. But we'll get to that next week. Fine.
next week,
So
Thanksgiving.
oh yeah.
It's Thanksgiving. We said I'm not here. Didn't I say that? I'm not here. I think I'm not here too. Let me look.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be here.
Next
I won't
week.
be here.
Thanksgiving. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to be gone.
I'm sure we'll all be gone. Yeah.
I'm
I have a
out of
flight the
town,
night before.
out of town till
We'll be back
End
on
of
the
December.
4th of December. And probably the 11th, 18th, but by the 25th I'll be gone again. Okay. So we're going to have skipping next week, but we'll have the 4th, 11th, and 18th, God willing.
I'll be in Israel, God willing.
Oh, good.
God willing, we'll get through chapter 9, which we're working on right now. Okay, thank you everybody, little people in boxes, for coming.
My kids.
See you in 2 weeks' time.
Where